we're going to talk about this light, the new Zhiyun G300. Now this is a sponsored overview. I'm paid, but I get to say whatever I want, as always. Starting with what you get when you purchase this light, you'll get the light, you get the control box, power cables, and a reflector. There is no case, it's just a box with foam. So let's move on to the features of the light. It is a bicolor light of 2700 to 6500 Kelvin, dimmable from 0 to 100% power. You can control this light from the control box or via Bluetooth. The light does have 14 special effects, but those are only controllable from the light unit, not from the app. There is a microphone on the control box for music mode, where it responds to sound. There's also an umbrella mount on the light head. It also boasts max mode, where you can increase the output of the light. Speaking of which, we're gonna go on to light readings. I used my Sekonic spectrometer, measured this at 1 meter with the included reflector. Moving on to the all-important fan noise and heat. Obviously, this is a really bright light. You can feel heat coming off of it. Most of the heat is here at the light head. The control box has a fan, but it certainly doesn't get as warm. Now, as far as the heat in front of the light, it is quite warm as well. If you stand about a foot in front of it with your clothes, they'll start smelling like you've got like an iron on it. So it definitely gets hot enough to burn or melt things. You got to be careful. So in general, you shouldn't be putting things less than 3 feet in front of this light that are not rated to do that. And just so we're clear, this is common among high output lights, that they get warm, that they get hot. You don't put crazy things in front of them. Moving on to fan noise. Max mode, 100% power. It's been at that for about 5 minutes. I'm standing pretty close to it, but this is what it sounds like. I'm just wearing a lav mic, and it's still ramping up. So the hotter it gets, the louder it's getting. It's about 6 feet over there. Hopefully you don't hear it as badly. It's very noticeable, very loud. If you're in a small space, you're definitely gonna hear this. Now the light is 6 feet away, not in max mode, 100% power. The fans have ramped down. It's about 78 degrees in here right now. I say this fan noise is more manageable, but it's still noticeable. Now I'm right next to it, 100% power, not max mode. So let's talk about what I like and what I don't like. First off, it's worth pointing out that this is a very identical light to the Zhiyun G200. There are some differences, and I might cover that in a comparison later. However, I did like that they improved a few things on this light compared to the G200. They added a better yoke handle and some rubberized grips around the unit. This makes it easier to handle it, but also makes it a much more secure yoke system. I tested how strong the yoke was, and I was very impressed and very happy with it.
I like it.
Something I don't like is you cannot control the special effects from within the app. They're only controllable from the light. This is across all of Zhiyun's lights, so Zhiyun, if you're listening, please make sure your app can control all of your special effects, especially on your RGB lights, not just this bicolor light, but all of your lights. We want to be able to control them from the app. Now, I do like that the cable length on this is much longer than on the G200. That's something I complained about, and it seems like Zhiyun listened. They increased the length, so it makes it a lot easier to get it plugged in and rigged up in unique and hard to reach places, which is another thing I really like about this light and a lot of Zhiyun's lights is the compact nature of it. It makes it a lot easier to get it in tight and hard to reach places. Another thing I like about this light is that it has a hard on and off switch so that it has live mode. This means it works great within studio settings. There are 2 things that confuse me about this light. The first one being the locking power cables. There's a locking pin for the connection from the control box to the light head, but there isn't one for the power cord that goes from your outlet to the control box. So several times I actually popped out the power from the control box, which turns off the light. For me, I would love to see that it also had a locking pin so that that did not happen. The second confusing thing was that there is a USB-C port on the control box. It's not for powering the light, don't worry, that's pretty obvious. This is a 3 to 500 watt light. It's for updating the firmware, which you can also do via the app. So I feel like it would have made more sense if maybe it was DMX rather than a USB firmware update port. When it comes to using this light, it's very clear that it's meant for more indoor work than it is for outdoor work. Even though it's a 300 watt light, and then with max mode, you can boost it up to about a 500 watt light. There is no way to power the light with a V-mount battery or some other battery system. So unless you're like me and have a portable power bank that has 3-prong power outlet on it, you're not gonna be able to power this light outside. I was able to, but only for a short period of time because the power bank that I have is only rated for 300 watts. Just keep in mind, I couldn't do max mode outside. So that being said, this might confuse some people as to why it's such a powerful light and not able to be run outdoors via some sort of mobile battery option. If you're going to use it outside, you're more or less likely going to use it as a hard light source. You're not going to be able to diffuse it down super great unless you're in the shade. So in that way, I see this light being designed for people more in indoor situations rather than outdoor situations. Maybe they're doing weddings that are in the evening. Maybe they're doing inside documentary work or interviews for corporate work. Additionally, it'd be great for people who are doing high frame rate shooting, so slow-mo product video. Either way, this light is a very useful light to have. Great to combat indoor lighting or natural light coming inside. Is it designed for the person outside? Probably not. But if you're interested in the power bank that I used or in purchasing this light, I'm gonna link it down below. If you use those links, it does support the channel, so I really appreciate it when you do that. If you have any questions, let me know down in the comments. Otherwise, I'll see you in the next video.